Good morning. We are going to walk through some of our high-level thinking of how we at Avinode see charter sales, the charter part of the industry developing. A couple of slides, and then, of course, anxious to hear your questions and cover that. You walk around MBAA this year, and there's AI in every third booth. I'm sure that you at home in your offices have conversations. Where are we going to apply AI? How does AI help us deliver the profit next year? How are we thinking about recruitment over the next couple of years? Very rarely do we step back and think about the foundation on what we can and need to have in place to be successful. We live and breathe charter, Part 135 globally. It's something we are very passionate about. We believe that there is so much opportunity in changing and seeing how charter sales is done. The last panel talked about how we have people that are getting burned out. We have a lot of passionate charter sales operators and brokers and staff that unfortunately not set up for success. Usually, it means that they don't have the data in front of them that they need, that they have processes that are not aligned, integrated across the company, and equally with the customers and the partners. There is so much opportunity to unlock when it comes to how you can enhance your workflow with AI. But first, you need to truly understand the business you are running, the people you have, and where you want to be in industry. But before we get to that, let me just provide you some context of Avinode. Our goal, our primary goal, is to make our customers, our partners, our members more successful, because when they continue to grow, we have the ability to grow. We want to see our charter brokers, our charter operators worldwide add more aircraft, add more staff, do more flights. Some people say that our product is the marketplace. The marketplace is just the platform where our members, where we have the honor and the privilege to have them interact. That is our offering. That is what makes us unique. Today, we have 5,200 charterable aircraft on the platform around the world. 2,600 of them are in the US. 2,600 is quite a small fraction of the 11,300 that appears on the FAA list of aircraft on a certificate, on a Part 135 certificate. It's like we are focused on the charterable aircraft. We have 12,500 active users every day on the platform. And these stats are from October. And I think you all realize October is actually a slow season, both in the US and Europe. But still, 707,000 searches are being made, generating 1.5 million requests between brokers and operators, sourcing for a potential 100,000 charter sales, charter trips. We sit in the middle of a lot of softwares, operations software, scheduling software, optimizers, back-end of large and small companies, driving on a slow month 120 million API calls, sending information back and forth. And we have a team of 155 people spread out over 3 continents, looking to continuously make sure we can enhance the platform to provide more value so that the members can continue to grow. We talked about transformation yesterday, so I couldn't resist to throw up the cover of Air Charter Guide back in 2007, when my co-founder Nicholas moved over to the US to start working this market. And I don't understand, and still don't understand, how the yellow pages would allow us to buy the front page. We sure made one ad salesperson very happy, but yeah, the rest is history. A few years ago, I sat on a panel at CGI, and I was asked a question: do I see that there is digitization or digitalization happening? And to be honest, as a non-native speaker, you first say, like, didn't you just say the same thing? Digitization is you taking the manual workflows and just put them on a computerized-based platform. Digitalization is when you build up new processes based on technology. And it pains me, and it pained me back then to say, no, we are in the digitization era still. What is happening, and even the new entrants and the new innovation that's happening, I would say that in most cases, it's still digitizing what we have been doing for the last 20 years. Yes, we are not sending faxes. We are just getting away from PDFs. We are doing DocuSign. But in general, the steps and the focuses are the same when it comes to sourcing, when it comes to quoting, when it comes to payments, when it comes to compliance, etc. There's still a lot of opportunity to change that. We, as a charter industry, are not set up for success. Flying compliant, safe trips is the primary focus of operators, and it has to be. There's naturally then a focus on complex technology stacks that are serving the operation systems. Unfortunately, in many cases, that means that the charter sales teams are forced to use the byproduct or whatever quoting mechanism is part of that ops system. It is time to take away that constraint, to say that as the industry has matured, charter sales teams now need a much more comprehensive, custom-built solution for doing charter. No longer should they be stuck and connected to the ops platform. And I'm not saying in any way that you should replace the ops platform, because you shouldn't. You should just take a really good thinking about how are we running charter. Because we said it before, they're dedicated people that need to be set up for success. Today, almost exclusively, operators are marketing and selling the capacity that ops have scheduled on the schedule. We have integrations with 85% of the operators sending us real-time data every 15 minutes of what their schedule in ops looks like. But that's not what you should be selling. The concept of inventory management is really not there yet. There are a few exceptions, but in general, these charter sales haven't been empowered to start thinking about not what does my schedule look like, but rather what should I be selling to fill my schedule. It might sound like play with words, but it's actually a fundamental different approach. Today, charter sales in most cases are very reactive. It's a question of answering requests. It's not being proactive, saying these are the segments, these are the places we want to sell out of, this is how we're going to market. When you truly have inventory management under control, that's when we can get closer to what you could call a click-to-clunk. In other words, you click on a mouse and there's an electronic workflow until the door of the airplane closes with a clunk. The other part is revenue management. Sure, anyone from commercial will say, Per, you're just doing what the airlines are doing. And in one way, yes. Inventory management, revenue management. Again, something that shouldn't be foreign. Again, something that requires a technology stack that's different from what we sit on today. Today, most operators leave their pricing constant. Hopefully, they know what their costs are, but very rarely do they understand what they should be selling for. There is opportunity that a trip should actually be 10, 15% higher than your standard pricing. Understanding the market demand and the market availability is key. For example, if you know that you're quoting a trip into the Bay Area, you should be aware that that market is up 34% in demand, tying back to the 4,000 employees at NVIDIA, right? So you know that you could potentially take a little bit lower pricing on going in there because you know you're going to pick something out coming out. We see a huge opportunity in revenue management, but it needs to be where this data is active. It's available when you quote. There's a lot of data where you can benchmark, and we have operators subscribing to competitive analysis, which means that once a month, we'll give them a report that says, oh, in 20% of the cases, you were the cheapest aircraft, and your average differentiation on this aircraft was 15%. That means you're leaving money on the table. But that doesn't help the charter salesperson as they're quoting. So data needs to be accessed in real time, and we need to be informed of how you can move your margin. We believe in an integrated workflow, a seamless on-the-go. Not just for operators, it's for brokers, and we believe that there should be a seamless experience for end clients as well. And just to be clear, I mean, Avinode, from the get-go, and I was asked this recently as on Monday, Per, when are you going to disintermediate broker? It's like, no, that's not our business, but we do see ourselves as a technology provider that can help brokers doing an even better job at interacting with the clients. There needs to be quoting and sales, as I mentioned, with the actionable data. There needs to be compliant payment solutions. There is a lot about data that's being tracked on the clients, etc., but are siloed. I spoke with someone yesterday. She has great profiles in Salesforce about the needs and the demands. And still, what shows up as catering is something the client would never eat. So how is it that we are not tying that in the background? Always on the go. It is a seamless world today in the sense that you need to be mobile. We have the opportunity to tie it all together. Because it is when we are starting to tie not just data, but workflows together that you can start having AI help out. And I don't believe that we are going to see the rise of the agentic era within private jets. And what I mean with that, having agents start calling each other, because I could very well see a broker agent calling an operator. Is the airplane there? And then the agent calling back, et cetera, et cetera. That's not what I see. But as we spoke some yesterday, there is definitely opportunity to streamline the workflows, make sure that you have that opinionated sales assistant in the background helping you out to catch opportunities, either in service delivery, in pricing, customer experience. And from our side, we believe that in order, considering the fragmentation of this market, and that a lot of the data and a lot of the workflow involves other parties, you need to make sure that it's not just something that you do, it's something actually that the industry does. And with that, I wanted to make sure I was on time, but leaving some rooms for questions. And of course, if there are real-time questions, that's even better, but Al, maybe there are some?
Do we have any questions in the room?
So obviously the elephant in the room is AI. Are you guys developing your own LLM, large language model within Avinode? And if you are, is it going to be proprietary? You're going to live? We're an operator out of Las Vegas. We heard yesterday there's speed on quoting and getting our birds in the air. Do you believe enabling an LLM of yours and we'll pay you guys more? Is that something that you could do that will developmental costs could actually make you money and help us make more money?
So I think the first places you're going to see AI within our application is going to be that opinionated sales assistant trying to help you out in where to focus. That's where you're going to start seeing it. I mean, we have 1.5 million requests out there. Which one is it that you should focus on? Today, when someone quotes 100 quotes, sends out 100 quotes, I would assume that 40% of them never get booked. The other 60, what happens with them? When are you competitive? Which flew, which didn't? So where you're going, not yet. I would say we are more focused on the streamlining the operations where we see the opportunity. More that, yeah.
Okay, we've got a question from Daniel, Einberg Partners. The average 6-aircraft operator can barely manage daily operations. How can they realistically take on major data and system overhauls?
My CTO and my chief product officer cry when they see that someone puts on the resume that they know how to work the Avinode system. We have, as a company, failed if we create a product that's so complicated that you feel that it has to be on your resume that you can master it. I agree with Daniel. It's like most operators aren't set up for big technology stacks. It should rather be the opposite. We should aim to simplify technology stacks. The extreme of that is the monolith that many have today, that it's one FMS. The other extreme is that you have individual tools for everyone. So I think that the challenge that we have and others in this space is how do you create an opinionated, intuitive sales assistant that helps you do your business. You don't need to be an AI or tech guru to use it. But what needs to happen is to have a fundamental shift in how charter sales is viewed, because it cannot be reactive. It cannot be the vanity metric. How many quotes did you send out today? That shouldn't be the answer. The answer shouldn't even be to me, it's like, Per, you only had 5 quotes of 100 book. Well, if those 95 others were almost automatically generated, then that's not the issue. So I think technology needs to be easy, and management needs to be seeing charter sales as a proactive sales arm rather than as a quoting team today.
Okay, I think this is on a slightly different angle, but in highly regulated sectors like business aviation, how do we apply AI responsibly while maintaining compliance and trust?
Privacy and trust, if I start in one end, I'm still amazed. They touched on the panel yesterday. How many passports are being emailed between brokers and operators? The PII, the InfoSec aspects. Why isn't that shared in encrypted channels? Even me nowadays, I'm hesitant to send someone my passport information over email. I'd rather give them a Dropbox link. But it's like, how are we asking high-end individuals to share stuff in a non-safe and secure environment? So that's where I think that it starts. And then, of course, it comes back to how and who are you sharing the data with when you're running AI on it. And internally for us, I mean, that's the first question our CTO will review as soon as we look at an AI tool. How do we make sure that it's a safe environment?
Okay. This is a philosophical one. Do you see data as the engine of innovation or the fuel that powers it?
I think that data without workflow is not value. Data can be generated, but it needs to be put as part of workflows. When you enable workflows across teams, across companies, and across industries, that's where I think that really accelerates innovation. So it's not just about the data, it's about how you tie it together. And I think that it is an industry-wide problem and opportunity. I love a lot of the innovation that goes on because people are coming at a different part. I mean, we have an API stack. We love innovation as well, and see that we play a part in making it happen.
Here's a specific question. What is the future for Sched Aero? Will you continue to compete with other scheduling systems, or are you focusing on the marketplace?
So I think that there is room for a lot of different offerings. I mean, my hat's off to the companies such Jet Insights, Flex, Leon, to mention a few. Being in the charter world and dealing with ops is a highly complex, necessary tool. There are companies out there that do not have the same needs. I think that someone said that more than half the companies do have less than 5 aircraft in the 135 world. They need simpler tools. So we have Sched Aero, we believe in that space. But to be clear, we do the same integration with Sched Aero as we do with everyone else. Do I see that we will compete in the space of Flexly and Jet Insight? No. We believe that there's other stuff that we will focus on, and unlocking charter sales is definitely one of them.
Final question. You've been asked this before, but when are we going to be... We had that yesterday, the panel on Uber for private jets. When are we going to be in the situation where someone can get their phone out and book a charter from Miami to New York on a private jet and get it instantly booked for tomorrow?
I will start saying it. I don't believe that that's a requirement. That instant book is not a requirement. Because there is so much stuff that needs to happen in order to make it. And when you say instant, for most people it's like that tail specific one. You could do instant booking now if you wanted to do light jet or mid-size, etc., but you're just going to be very wide. I do believe, however, it's the experience that you need to have. That should be technology powered. I think it's the speed and the interaction is the key, not the actual time it takes to book. It's just a process that should be laid out and walk through the customers, and I think you can do it very nicely.
Okay, and someone, I think this is your marketing team asking. What is the benefit for operators joining your platform, and how is this profitable?
So I've had the privilege now to do this for close to 25 years. I've had the privilege to work with North Flying out of Denmark, our first paying customers back in 2002, still a member, Jet Aviation since 2002, NetJet since 2006. The reason why they are on the platform is the exposure, the interaction with members, the bookings we get. And I would be the first to say, no, we aren't cheap. My professor in business school, where this was our master thesis, said, Per and Nicholas, you cannot have a cost-based business model where you need to have a value-based business model, and that's been with us since ever. So if you're not getting bookings on Avinode, you shouldn't be there. If your team is not working with us, then you should not be there, because we see that the value you get is directly proportional to how much you invest. We will actively tell people, take your aircraft away. You're declining 97% of the trips. Why are you there? They still find value. So if you're not getting value, we will be the first one to tell you, we need to work differently. We want to have you on the platform, but we need to engage more.
One of the great founder stories is that you actually wanted to launch a very light jet air taxi company. And your professor said, you can't do this without the marketplace. You can't do both. Did you ever give him any money?
To make it even more funny, so this is business school 2001. Just to put it in perspective, we founded Avinode the 29th of August 2001. 9 months after the dot-com bubble busted, 3 weeks before 9/11, we got to pitch to 0 VCs. Our professor at the time said, I don't believe in aviation. So he even took it one step further. So he said, you can't build a business model on Sapphire and Eclipse aircraft. He was pretty right. They were going to come out in 3 years. It took 8. We said, okay, we're still committed to aviation. We drove around Europe for a summer as a university project. But then what he did was saying, but skip aviation. You should do something with boats. You're all sailors. So we didn't give him any money, but we did name our sailboat Søren. A male name on a sailboat is not common, but that's the dedication we gave to him.
I think he'd rather have had the money. Thank you very much. Coffee is outside.
Thank you.